Alton Towers is one of the UK's favourite tourist destinations with rides, attractions and so much more, but what are the top 10 rides over at Alton Towers? Well, coming in at number 10 we have got Rita the Queenoscar, which is an Intamin launch coaster located over at the Dark Forest area. Now this will be way lower down my list if it was actually a good ride, as you shoot off at like 60 miles an hour, which is absolutely phenomenal, but from there it's basically just like flying fish at Thorpe Park. You go around a few corners and then the next thing you know you're at the end of the ride, and after waiting an hour queue you are personally a little bit disappointed. But you will notice, especially when on one spot today, that I have got some very weird opinions. However, it is now time for number 9, which is going to be Congo River Rapids, one of the greatest family rapids that I've ever been on, and definitely one attraction which I do every single time I go to Alton Towers, as it always has such a short queue. It's so much fun to go with your friends and have a laugh, and there are a few surprises along the way, which are, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but if you do want to find out what happens, make sure to go to Alton Towers yourself and experience this phenomenal attraction. And if you can't do that, go and watch it on my POV up there as we show you around the whole ride, and maybe the surprise might happen to us. Choo choo. Coming in at number 8, yes, this may be a shocker for you guys, but it is John Wardley's first ever creation, and no, it is not Runaway Mine Train, it is Nemesis. Now I know for many of you out there, and many of my friends as well, would say that this is the best ride over at Alton Towers, but for me it just doesn't do that. The scenery is amazing, the atmosphere is amazing, and the soundtrack is amazing, but the ride itself, personally I find it too intense. You got up the lift hill and already you're thinking, wow, this is an amazing ride, but unless you get front row on those rides you don't really see a lot. You whip round that corner and then you just literally pretty much jolt from side to side, you do loads of loops, and you don't really get much time to enjoy the ride itself, in my opinion. And I know there's loads of people out there who are going to be commenting down below now and going, Tom, what are you on about? It's the best ride over at Alton Towers. But for me personally, it just doesn't make it up there. But if you are going to Alton Towers, this is a ride that you cannot miss. But for me, I personally believe that this ride is just too intense. Talking about loops, this ride has 14. As for our number 7 spot, we have got the Smiler, the ride which many will call their favourite ride at Alton Towers, but for me, even though I absolutely love it, it just doesn't make it past number 7. As on the ride you start off by going down a drop doing one loop, you go up a lift hill, do another like 7, and then you do another lift hill which is vertically up at 90 degrees, and then you do another 6. Like, who would say that's insane? But nevertheless, it is a great ride, but I just don't think it's worth queuing up 2 hours in that soundtrack over and over and over again for this sort of ride. But if you do want to bring a smile and a smiler to my face, make sure you click that subscribe button, give us a like and comment down below, as even though we've now hit above 1.1k, so thank you all so much. Every little subscriber counts, and honestly I appreciate them all more than you could ever imagine. But anyway, let's get back onto the top 10, as our number 6 spot goes towards Duel, the family laser ride which you go around shooting zombies, goblins, ghosts and so much more in this amazing haunted house. But a little fun fact for you guys, this is actually the first ride that we ever did on a theme park hosting vlog, which is partly the reason why I do love it so much. But honestly, this ride is fantastic. It's always got a 5-minute queue and the scenery is impeccable. Like, that facade of that haunted house is something you'll never ever see before, and it's in its own little land. So if you enter out of Forbidden Valley and you walk down a little bit, you will come across this ride, and just look on the map because you will not regret this ride. And if you've done it before, you know you want to do it again, and if you haven't done it before, what are you waiting for? Get on to Duel and try beating my score of like 10. But if this ride's a bit too tame for you guys and you would like something a bit more spinny, you're going to love Spinball Wizard. The ride where you're meant to feel like that you are actually inside of a pinball machine and you are the pinball itself, and trust me guys, you do, as you start off by spinning up the lift hill, going down the drop while still spinning, going up arches while spinning, and going around helixes, you guessed it, while spinning. But this ride can fetch queues up to like 2 hours, but trust me, this is actually worth it, this ride, as it's such unique aspects towards it, and the theming itself is okay, but there's one part of this ride which I really do love, and that is the queue line. Now you go around it, and of course as it does get long queues, you are expected to get a bit bored, but this ride has solved that problem by actually putting arcade games in the queue line. Into number 4 now, and we are back at the X-Sector. Look at a ride which is actually very overlooked. And no, this is not the Enterprise. Honestly, I've been there over 20 times and still never done this attraction. And it could be amazing, I've just never done it. But it is, of course, the Oblivion. And if you compare it to Smiler, which is next to it, everyone always goes, oh, let's go to Smiler, it looks a lot better. But Oblivion is fantastic. You start off on these massive cars, going up the chain lift, and when you get to the top of that, you realise how high you really are, and you start regretting decisions for going on this ride. But as soon as you get around that corner and go over that drop, I can't tell you how much great feeling you have. The whole body starts shaking and it just feels absolutely fantastic before you drop right down. And the second that you come back up the other side, you'll realise, wow, it's a small ride, it's not very long, but it is definitely one of the best. Top 3 now, and at number 3 we're going quite high up into the sky and actually into the galaxy, as we're now going on to Galactica, or for you parents out there, Air, which is a flying coaster located over at the Forbidden Valley. But the second that you get down to that ride and you feel the ambience, you feel the soundtrack, you see the scenery, and you just watch that ride go through that portal, you'll get where I'm coming from. As even though it has got no loops, it's just amazing. Honestly, it's so unique, and for me, I love unique rides. That's probably why my list is structured how it is, and how my number 1 is so unique. And as you start off in your station, the ride has already started. As you go up in your seat, and that feels so crazy you can't even describe it. And then you go off round the ride, up the lift hill like all other rides over here, Alton Towers, and then you drop through a portal, twist over, you're on your back like you're going to bed, and it just feels so crazy. It's like, it's not intense, but it's just got that feeling towards it like, wow, this is something special. But it did also used to have VR onto its attraction. Now, I can tell you now, for anyone who didn't use VR, it was not good. It used to keep failing, it never stuck on your head, and overall, I'm really happy I got rid of it, as it was making queues a whole lot longer. But if you did enjoy it, please comment down below, because I really want to know who actually enjoyed the VR. Because personally, whoever I was with didn't really enjoy the VR aspect of this ride, but there's one thing that everyone loves, and that is Galactica. Here we are now, at the number 2 spot, the deciding spot, and now this ride is going to be a ride that everyone thinks is going to be at number 1, but we are not going to feed the flames for number 1 spot, but instead for number 2. And yes, this is Wicker Man, the newest addition towards the park. This amazing wooden coaster with awesome scenery. Like, this has to be the best scenery ride at the park, without a doubt. And for me personally, the queue line is as fun as the ride. You get to go around, there's not many cattle pens within it, but just the scenery and the atmosphere you get when you're going into that ride. And then you go into the pre-show, which just finishes it off. You're so buzzing to get on it. And then you get onto the attraction itself, and it does not disappoint. You go round into mist, smoke, tunnels, and even into a massive Wicker Man. Like, you can't get that anywhere else, apart from Alton Towers, of course. But a quick tip for you guys, do not go down to Wicker Man, as everyone rushes down there, and at the start of the day, it can reach queues up to around 3 to 4 hours long. But if you wait a little bit further into the middle of the day, around lunchtime sort of time, you can expect queues for only like 2 or 1 hours. So honestly, do not waste your time of your valuable Alton Towers day in the extended queue. Trust me, you do not want to do that. As there are so many other rides over at the park, which are also a must do. Now here we are on my favourite part of the video. We announced my number 1 ride over at Alton Towers, and it is going to be 13. And I'm going to give you guys a minute to get over that while I explain what's my favourite ride. But honestly, serious here, it is my favourite ride at the park, and this is why. So you start off this attraction in the queue line. Now the queue line is absolutely phenomenal. The trees are everywhere, the scenery and the ambience gets you really excited for this ride and not expecting what is going to come up. And then you go into the building itself. There's an electric ball which occasionally goes off, and it's quite scary, but again, it's building up the atmosphere. And then you get into your car, you sit in groups of 2, you go down round the corner and then up this lift hill, which is a lot bigger than you think, before summiting down the drop just like Oblivion. And then you go round the corner down a quick whip like Wicker Man, go up the airtime hills like Rita, and it goes on for a while just like Smiler. But just warning you guys, there's a big spoiler now, so if you do not want to hear about it and if you do not know what happens on 13, I really do recommend you pausing it and coming back around 9 minutes 20, so there'll be no more spoilers. Okay, for you guys who's still here, don't laugh yet, because here we now go into the unique part of 13 as you go into this dark room, the doors shut, and then you drop a whole story before shooting backwards on a helix and then going up to the top. However, then you then shoot forward, which I personally believe is a better launch than Rita, as it's not too fast, but it is really enjoyable and you put your hands in the air, and then the ride is over. But unfortunately, so is our top 10 video, and I've loved doing it for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and found it interesting, and if you are planning to go to Alton Towers, comment down below on your trip or what you're planning to do when you're there, as I do love to hear it, and I do reply to every single comment within 24 hours. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, because we've got loads more top 10 vlogs, POV, and so much more on this channel. But my name is Tom Derrick from Theme Park Coasting, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.